To get more into this story and the issues that surround it, we're joined by Rabbi Mordechai Ben Yosef Ben Avraham, excuse me, author of Mind of the Black Jew. Thanks for coming in, Rabbi. I appreciate you being back with us.
Thank you.
Look, so questions have come out like, man, you know, where's Adidas have any sort of morals or what? But then you read these numbers involved. I mean, it was just that, did the money talk here? And should we be upset by it?
You know, I think the main concern is that as a community, we took a very hard approach to trying to deal with Kanye, just to relieve the situation and try to create clarity. And now that Adidas has took him back, the concern is, are other people going, is that going to create an open forum that I can now say whatever I want if it's anti-Semitic, and I can still not receive any repercussions from that?
I mean, do you think that's what this does? I mean, is that the statement essentially that, hey, if there's enough money involved, you can say anything, you can do whatever you want?
That's what it sounds like.
We'll stay with you. You know, we'll keep selling your shoes. Do you think this is, they're going to see more of this? I know they've tried to frame this, Adidas, as like, look, this is just about getting rid of previous inventory. We're not doing any new deals. We'll see. I mean, do you think this is not the end of that story?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's definitely, I mean, he has a presidential run in 2024, which who knows what's going to come out of his mouth during then. And associated with this deal with Adidas, you know, I think as a community, as a Jewish community, we have to have a new approach with dealing with these issues. Meaning that, you know, like you have here, you have in Jerusalem, you have the Jerusalem Center for Public Affairs, right? They're now partnered with Pastor Dumasani Washington, and they're doing a whole outreach to talk about these issues. And I think going forward, I think the solution is for us to get very creative about when these things happen, that we could come and take dialogue, and maybe that part of that 1.3 billion could have been helped to use to help other issues as well.
Even a small part of that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so, you know, talking about the need for proactivity. Look, we're fresh off the day of hate in America right now that was organized by white supremacists here. You know, what were your thoughts on Friday, you know, going into the weekend, or just sort of sidetrack on, you know, the issues with, obviously Kanye brings this stuff to mind here, because he's been, you know, for lack of a better term, in bed with the white supremacists. I mean, we've seen him appear alongside some of these worst figures. You know, what did you think going into this weekend? Were you uneasy? I mean, how were your thoughts?
It was definitely a sad, like, inner cry for humanity as a whole, that we as a human society still, I mean, I think the genius part of it is that they're calling it a day of hate. I mean, God forbid they call it a day in love with hate rhetoric.
They're being upfront at least.
Yeah, they're being very honest first date, you know? So the thing is just saying that they're exposing, the key is, well, how do we have a day of love? How do we counter these things? We have to be afraid of them. I think we should look at it as invoking us to go higher. And I think
were you hardened by some of the response? I mean, we saw, like, you know, from the mayor of New York City to many others. I mean, there's these solidarity events that were, unity events that were put on. It seemed like there was some silver lining around that it actually brought out some of the good people. I mean, was there a positive takeaway?
You know, the thing is, whether it's in America or here in Israel, you know, I was leaving Shabbat and I was in Rakavi and I saw a huge protest, you know, out there. And whether I agree with the people or not, that's not my position. It's just saying the beauty of discussion, the beauty of democracy. And you see it here in Israel and you see it in America, even in a day of hate. You still see the message of democracy, and we can go somewhere better.
You know, how, in terms of the proactivity, in terms of getting through to, you know, someone like Kanye or other celebrities, you know, anyone out there, I would think of the sports world a little bit, you know, as it figures like, you know, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has been a really, you know, clear-eyed activist when it comes to combating some of this stuff, you know, and a father figure sort of like, you know, to many out there, especially in the athletic world. Is it figures like that? I mean, do we turn to some of the big names? What's been the latest with Kanye? I mean, what are you seeing? Does he listen to anybody? Is he open to these kind of fatherly figures out there in the community?
Well, there's been a press with him, his new wife. We got to congratulate Kanye for getting married. He's moving high. He's going higher in his own way. It's getting better.
Maybe getting better.
Yeah, and then he was with Russell Simmons, and Russell Simmons is known for having a great relationship with the Jewish community in New York. So I see in those pictures, perhaps this is an integration that Russell Simmons is going to design with Jewish leaders for Kanye. Because at the end of the day, he's a creative artist. He's saying hate speech, but I want to give him the benefit of the doubt that he's going to come and clean this up and do better for all of us.
I mean, he's, you know, been an influence on some of the worst things out there. One other figure I want to ask you about, you know, who's got a voice in this arena. I know doesn't want to use it right now. Amar'e Stoudemire, you know, one of my great favorites from the Phoenix Suns and the Knicks and elsewhere, and Maccabi Tel Aviv. Does he want to join the spotlight? Does he want to get out there? I mean, he's, you know, embraced Israel. He's embraced Judaism. He's highly respected in other fields, obviously, from athletics and beyond. What's his attitude towards this?
You know, I just had dinner with Amar'e, not Motzi Shabbos, not this one, the one before. He was here taking care of learning in yeshiva.
Tell him I say hi.
Yeah, I will tell him to say hi. God will bring him by here when we
love
go.
to, yeah.
But he is very passionate about this, and I think people like Amar'e, when the Kanye situation happened, I feel Jewish organizations should say, hey, talk to Amar'e. Let's do it in a public setting, and he could voice those things. You have people like myself, maybe Nassim Black, other people who are African American, a part of hip hop culture, or have been in our previous lives, and we need to have these discussions, because we could have converted that whole situation. Now he's talking about Hitler now. You know what I mean? We could have stopped it maybe then, and maybe part of that Adidas, revenue could have went to help a lot of things in the Jewish community.
And people will listen. I mean, you get figures like that, or known figures, talking, or at least even engaging in a kind of a debate or discussion with someone like Kanye. They're going to listen. I mean, a lot of people are going to listen to that.
Yeah.
Want to know what's being said. The bottom line is, are we seeing, troublesome new alliances emerge from someone like Kanye, white supremacists, others? Is this something that we should be paying a lot more attention to than we are at this point?
I think now is a time that, as Jews, this is where we go into that conversation. We go into that oasis, that valley, because we have Eretz Israel, we have the IDF, we have a government that's growing, and we should not shake or hold back from addressing these issues and conquering them.
Rabbi Yahoshafat Ben Avraham, always enjoy having you in the studio. Thanks for coming in today, especially coming all the way from Jerusalem. And I look forward to this Amar'e chat. We'll follow up on that with Amar'e.
We will.
Thanks for coming.